All right, you guys, welcome back to That's So Fringy podcast. I'm Rick.
I'm Kristen.
And I'm Bethany.
And we are here with another Fringy Morsel. And, we were thinking as us conspiracy theorists become more and more right every day about everything that's going on in the world.
More righter.
More righter. You find that there's a lot more news to report if you have a Fringy podcast. Mm-hmm. And so when we're talking about which current event to do for this week, it's like there's so many current events right now that are talking about the fringiest, literally the fringiest things in life. Yep. And so we wanted to do kind of more of a popcorn type thing where all three of us each bring a story. So we're going to start doing that from now on. We're each three going to bring a story. We're still going to try to keep it short, but if it goes a little longer, we don't really care. We just want to get this information out to you guys. So how does that sound to you guys?
I like it.
All right. Good. Yeah, we've also got on our next podcast, we are going to have a video podcast.
So some of us, me, don't like to be on video, which is why we agreed to do a podcast because it's just voices. And then Ding Dong over here decided that it would be cool if we video it.
Wow, don't call Bethany a ding dong. That's weird.
So we will have a video on this next one.
Yeah, so
which causes a whole nother level of anxiety.
Just get psyched. Just get psyched about it because it's going to be a lot of fun.
I have to wear makeup now.
Yeah.
I put my makeup on.
I have to put eyebrows on.
Yeah, there's going to have to be some adjustments. Yeah. But
pray for us.
Yeah. But anyway, we got that going. I think you're going to enjoy it. You might not. We just asked that maybe leave some comments so that we can get some feedback. Maybe write some reviews.
If you have a current event that you want us to talk about on the Morsels, we have people that send us stuff, and it's super awesome and helpful and gives us a direction to go in.
Yeah, write a review on. I mean, even if it's just a couple words, great podcast or whatever. Those reviews really help. And we've had a few people just push the stars and and give reviews, and that's great. Those are all great things. But sometimes people look through those reviews to see if the podcast is even worth it. And so if you guys wouldn't mind going in there and just writing a quick review, if you do like the podcast, if you appreciate the content, maybe you could just leave us a quick message on there, and not so much for us, but for other people, so that they can get a hold of kind of what the podcast is about or how it's being received. So anyway, with all of that said, I'm going to go quickly.
Thank you for hanging with us last week. Rick decided to have a kidney stone.
He done passed his stones.
Yeah. He was on the struggle bus for a few days, and then we had a graduation party on Sunday. So our third child is now graduated.
Yep, a year early, actually. Nerd.
So wow.
Shout out
to the nerd. Yeah. So anyway.
So it was a long, weird week, but we're back.
We're back.
We're back in the saddle.
Back in the saddle again.
Whoa.
Gosh.
Is that the Boys to Men version?
I think so.
Okay.
All right, Kristen, kick us off with the news story that you brought for this week.
Okay. So this, I think, was actually maybe from last week, but this is the title.
Start over.
What?
Just kidding. Get her every time.
Rude. I have instant panic. Cheeks get red.
Okay, go.
Stop. Are you really done? Okay. Scantily clad witches caught munching on deer carcass in bizarre security cam footage.
Shut up. This is not a real story.
Heard about that.
Yes, it's real.
Yes.
So I guess in Canada, there was a gal that's a nurse, and she's a nature lover. And she came across the carcass of a dead deer, in one of her garden areas. Mm-hmm. So her and her grandfather thought that it would be cool to set up a trail cam to see. Why? I don't know.
That's kind of weird.
A little weird.
It is weird.
But I don't know if she's waiting for animal predation, or I'm not sure.
Well, a lot of people do that.
She wanted to see what would happen to this carcass, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I would do that. That's like some backyard National Geographic stuff. You know,
That's
you
true.
you could get some pretty cool footage there and go TikTok famous.
Well, you could get really cool footage, and some naked women could come and start eating the deer.
Oh my God.
I don't think that
What
that's
would you
probably
even do?
that's probably not what they were thinking was going to happen when they put this trail cam up. They were thinking they were going to get
grandpa
another
the
animal.
next day. So I guess they originally got a bobcat, which was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like we got a bobcat in the wild, and so then like the next day she went over and her grandpa was like, you're not going to believe what we got on this trail cam.
Oh my gosh.
So I guess it was like 10 minutes after sunset. These people just walked over to the deer carcass and started like eating it. They couldn't really tell from the pictures like what they were doing, but like at one point she like picked up the hoof and was either smelling it or kissing it or like regardless if you're
or
picking up a dead deer
smearing the-
hoof, it's weird.
It's weird.
It doesn't really matter what she was doing.
It's some kind
So
of
they're just in the
ritual.
buck, and for those
They
of you,
have like a loincloth,
Yeah.
for lack of a better term.
well, for
Like,
those
so
of you
can't
that
see their
don't
butt.
know what a trail cam does, it doesn't actually record video. It works on motion sensor. So if an animal runs by, it captures, but it only captures in pictures. So stills, it doesn't actually do video. I mean, I'm
I think
sure
one
there's
of
some
them
out
is a
there that
man
do,
and one of
but
them is
this
a
one
woman,
isn't.
because that one of them
Yeah.
looks more like a dude, or just maybe a hairy woman.
It's hard to
But that
tell.
hair is not real. It has to be like so they're like wearing wigs or something. I don't really know.
Yeah.
It's like I've looked at the picture a million times, the pictures, and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So is it real, you think? You think that this is a real thing that they caught, or do you think this is a setup, somebody trying to get
I don't know.
clickbait?
Like, what's the motive? Like, what's this? Because this lady's just a nurse with a garden.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what's the motive?
That could be me.
That sounds
Right.
like Bethany. Wait, Bethany, did you post this?
This was not me.
Okay.
but like this, so the lady is naked with a weird loincloth looking thing, and then there's a dude you can see behind her with like pants and regular shoes on.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's
It's-
regardless. It seems like some kind of satanic ritual,
Right.
something like.
I mean,
Well,
if-
and like we've said a million times, there's power in the blood, and so blood is a very
Yeah.
weird anomaly anyway. Really. So I don't know.
yeah. Maybe hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think
Yeah.
about it,
Yes.
because I have no idea. That's weird.
It looks like the closest thing to like I don't know.
It looks like the girl from The Ring
It does. Yes, it does.
with the like hair over the face. You couldn't identify them.
No, you wouldn't be able to look at the pictures and go, "Oh, that's Sally. She lives 3 doors down."
Maybe they're just really
She likes
ugly.
to smoke meth sometimes.
Yeah. Like, did they know there was a camera right there? And they were like,
I don't know. But then the lady said later that she was concerned about them messing with her horses at night because it was like nighttime and they're over there being weird with the deer. So, and then she said the horse always gets really spooked and unnerved around that area. I thought they imagined stuff at first, so I didn't think anything of it. Maybe I believe them now. I mean, animals can sense things better than we
Yes.
can, right?
so spooked in that
So were they
area.
even real things? Or was it some kind of apparition?
Who knows?
You've just opened up way too many rabbit holes
Yeah.
I know.
for me to be able to follow this coherently.
But look at that. This is I'm looking at the clearest picture of her face where she's either sniffing or kissing or eating the hoof.
Chewing on. Maybe she's teething.
Maybe she
Oh, she might be
has a
teething.
broken tooth and she's using it like a toothpick getting the food out.
Or maybe there's poop smeared on the hoof and she's wiping it on her face. We don't know.
Oh,
okay.
wow.
Maybe that's part of the
a
ritual.
really weird one. I don't like that.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
so anyways, that was mine. Scantily clad witches. Well, one of them
Yeah.
was scantily clad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell
Well,
us what you
she
think
was
about that.
topless.
Super interesting.
So we have another topless, interesting story that Bethany's going to
So
bring you.
we start a new thing where we all bring a story and you guys bring 2 topless or one naked story and one
Weird.
topless story.
But one of them was a woman and one of them was a man.
I-
Guess which story is which?
I promise mine are going to have their clothes on. So go ahead when you're ready.
interesting.
Yeah.
I'm bored then.
Did you guys see the biggest pride party that was thrown in Washington D.C. at the White
I
House?
did see that.
Yeah.
That was interesting. Apparently, there was over 1,000 attendees. There was a band.
Mm-hmm.
It was
It was an organized event. I
Yes.
didn't know if it was like an organized event or if people just showed up because they hung up a giant pride flag.
No, nope.
So it
That's
was an
the
event.
trans.
It was
So
an
let's back up.
Yes.
There's a difference between a pride flag and the trans flag.
Oh.
There's like 2 more colors or something.
Well, the trans flag is the one that you see with the V.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So that's kind of the new one that's been going around. They're trying to incorporate like all these different colors and all this different stuff. But if you put that side to side with the Masonic flag, it's like the same shape and the same style.
Like
it has
the template is the same.
it has a triangle and it has that. So find those 2 flags, or maybe we'll post that picture on Instagram so you guys can see it. But you put those 2 flags together. And another thing that's interesting is that trans flag was in the very middle. So as that,
right. Yeah.
I don't know what that balcony on the White House as it's going, it's usually the American flag and military flag ceremony rules dictate that first flag in the middle is supposed to be the American flag.
Right, and it's always supposed to be higher.
Yeah,
than
just
any
like
other flag. Because I was in the color guard.
Oh, you were?
Fun fact.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in the American Legion color guard
Okay, that's upsetting.
back in my day. Did you not know?
this?
I don't know.
You were abused.
We're gonna
I
have
know,
to.
something happened.
We're gonna have to demonstrate some things for us later, but so basically, the rule is that flag goes first in the middle, and then you can put whatever state flags or whatever on the side. Well, this trans flag was the middle flag, which is completely against all military
Oh, I see it now. It has the
regulation.
triangle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
weird.
I think it's interesting that it matches the Masonic logo flag, their apron. It's always that triangle.
Yeah, the same thing, like
Yes.
Gmail.
Yes, the Gmail logo. Yeah, it's.
If you look at that little loincloth apron thing that
Yeah.
they wear, that weird little apron thing that they wear, it's the same exact logo as what's it called? Gmail.
Gmail.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yep.
Oh yeah. If you look at the Chrome, so Google's evil, right? If you look at the Chrome circle,
Yeah.
and I know some people use Chrome. I'm not saying don't use Chrome. I'm just saying the Chrome circle actually is 3 sixes. It's 3 circular sixes. If you look
That's
at
the
that.
other main difference in the flags that I did here is that a rainbow has 7 colors in it, and in their flag they only use 6 colors, with 7 being a godly number and 6 being a demonic number. But I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting facts that you can glean from it. But to get back on track with this news story, there were some interesting characters that were in attendance there.
Did you guys see the video of the girl, the topless girl?
Well, she came. So she came with a white dress that was just like a tube top dress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah.
And then the next panning over of the camera, boobs out, literally shaking them.
Yep.
Yeah, covering.
But it was a man,
But-
a man with boobs.
Right.
Right.
So it was a him to her, and then standing next to him her was the other him her, which was a her to a him, and had the boobs cut off and was shaking nothing, just flabby skin flaps.
Nips. Weird
Yeah.
nips.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're just they're ultimately they're just living in their truth, and they're just trying to be true to themselves and live in their body, be comfortable in their body.
This is what the booby one said, not the boobless.
Yes.
Yeah, thank
There's
you.
a whole interview after the fact that was like, I felt like I needed to bleach my ear canals after I listened to it.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen this, you need to check it out, because I mean, Joe Biden's up there like these are the strongest people that I know,
Right.
like in the nation. We're not, and they're doing it on like what, D-Day? Was it D-Day that I think it was.
Oh, maybe it was.
It was D-Day that they were actually doing it. So this
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know
this
that.
huge like debauchery parade going on at the White House, and you have the president of the free world, supposedly, is up there saying that these are the most courageous people that he knows.
Not to mention, there was a quote that he was just talking about bringing decency back to the White House.
Right.
Because Trump was so indecent. He's going to bring decency back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Talk about indecent exposure.
I just feel like it's a joke. Like, what
It has to
country
be.
is looking at America right now thinking, I'm going to take that guy seriously?
Yeah.
It's more like all the
nobody.
countries are like, we should invade now. Because
Seriously.
if these are their front lines, I think we have pretty good odds.
Yeah.
Seriously.
What are you going to do? Flash me?
Yeah.
You've got these guys storming it blows my mind. Being a military man, it blows my mind that on D-Day, and I could be wrong on that, but I think it was on D-Day that you're talking about the most courageous young men that have walked the planet. They basically get in a boat, they hit the shore, and they're already being fired at before they even hit the shore.
And they still got out of the boat.
Literally have nothing else to do but run forward. There is no behind. It's only the ocean. These are the most courageous men in the world. That's what courage looks like.
Because of those men, these people can do what they're doing.
Yeah, you can flash your fake boobs at the White House now. And that other video that this thing posted was saying that it's legal in Washington, D.C.
Apparently, you can have your
to be
breasts
topless.
exposed in
Apparently, that's a
Washington,
law.
DC, which I haven't actually looked into. But most places, you can breastfeed, so you can be topless, right? I think individual businesses can say no. But
Yeah, but we're talking about the White House. Like,
Right. That's what I'm just like,
yes, okay, sure. Even if it is legal in Washington, D.C. proper, it's not to be done at the White House. Like, what have we done to our country where there is no sense of reverence. There is no sense of like this is something that has been fought for
ground.
generation after generation after generation, and this is the house where the leader of this great nation, where people fought and died and bled for this. This is the house that guy lives in, and there's all this respect and pomp and circumstance that they go through for inaugurations and all of this. And then you've got this debauchery going on, and they're just like, that's legal. It's like, well, okay, it might be legal, but it's not okay.
right.
And you should know that. That even if you do want to be a woman, great.
Right.
I
Do
don't
that.
care if you want to be a woman. I think it's mental illness, but it's probably not, let me say this, it's probably not even that person's fault that they have mental illness because they might have trauma in their life.
It's programming. It's all programming.
Yes.
This next generation of kids coming up, this is going to be normal to them.
Yes, because what is this teaching our children?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If they see this happening at the White House, it's happening in schools.
Sure, it's
Sesame
everywhere.
Street just had an episode on with the pride flag. Same exact flag that was hanging next to the American flag at the White House. It's like, what is this doing mentally to this younger generation?
Yeah. I just saw a statistic that all of those businesses that went all pride for this month, all of those businesses collectively have lost something like $50 trillion in revenue.
I believe it.
Just because they've done this. And that just tells you what the American people really think. Like if you want to ask we the people what we really think, it's with our pocketbooks, because Jesus
that's the
even
one
says
small
that.
thing that we can control. We can't control what's going on globally with this agenda, but we can control where we spend our money and what we support financially.
Yeah,
to a small degree.
where your money is, there your heart is. Right. Where you're directing those finances that you're a steward of because you think that it's your money when it's not. It's really God's money. But we choose to hold it to ourselves and say, this is what the direction I want. So if I'm going to be in control of it, then that tells me when I put it to an agenda, whatever it is, that's how I feel. That's what I really believe in. And so when you give your money to these people that support these ideals, like even with Target putting up like Baphomet kid clothing and stuff like that. Like the American public is had enough, and they're saying no more. We're not doing this anymore. We're not gonna, put our kids in devil clothes. We don't want devil at the Super Bowl. We don't want them on the Grammys. We don't care about any of that stuff. Stop pushing this agenda. And with the whole trans thing, like I've had enough for sure. I've had enough.
Well, speaking of enough, let's move on to your subject because it's making me mad.
Okay.
Bethany's getting
All right. Somebody's been triggered. Okay.
One more thing, though. Is it crazy that we have an entire Pride Month? We have like one day for Memorial Day, like one day for Labor Day, and we have an entire month. I saw a thing, which I'm trying to find now and I can't, but it's like the calendar days. There's 365 days in a year, and the calendar number of days that are basically set aside for this agenda is like 250 something. That's how many days out of the year. I mean, granted, 30 of those are just in June, but they have all these days that are just for these people in this agenda.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
When you start looking at the statistics, it's wild because it's not, it's clear that it's an agenda at this point. There's no doubt in my mind. But moving on, obviously you guys know I'm more on the political side of things a lot of times.
Who knew?
And so I thought it might be important to talk about the fact that Trump was just indicted for the second time.
I knew
you knew I was going to do this.
I did. I literally was like, it's going to be something about Trump. And
I was at a grocery store today, and this is the type of grocery store where you can actually buy like the New York Times, and you can buy the USA Today, and they have them all sitting out on the table there, and they have them laid out. And I walked by, and it caught my eye because literally every single front page was talking about Trump and this indictment. And the funny thing is if you believe in the Q movement, which my wife's going to start to roll her eyes here in a second, if you believe
only halfway rolled.
Yeah, if you believe in the Q movement and you believe that there is a plan to save the world from these evil, diabolical Satanists that have taken over our world, you know that there is a plan in place, and there are a lot of us that are paying really close attention to this, and a lot of the Q drops have been talking about these things coming and these things happening. And there's 2 Q drops, and I know you guys are going to be like, oh my gosh, but there's 2 Q drops that talk about an indictment happening. And it doesn't say who the indictment's going to be. It just says there's going to be an indictment. And then there's another one that's posted right after that. The next Q drop says exactly the same thing. So it's either going to happen twice or whatever, or it was an accident, which we know that there's no accidents. So it's very interesting that Trump has been indicted twice. Okay. And the reason that this is interesting is because he was indicted in the state of New York. So he was indicted. A former president of the United States has never been indicted before. And so now there's precedence if you're thinking about court and law and how this country works currently. Trump has been indicted in a state. So now there's precedence for a president, a former president, or a current president to be indicted in a state. Now there's precedence. And then he was just indicted federally. So now there's federal indictment for a former president. And so Trump...
So there's no kind of like law that says you can't indict a former president. It just hasn't happened because why?
It's never happened.
Because everybody else has played by the rules, and
no, it's because
it's just like known that you don't indict. Like it's like a secret meeting. You're just like, we don't indict former presidents.
Yeah, well, I would think so. I mean, if we go back to all of our discussions that we've had about secret societies and those type of things. We know that there is this underbelly of people that are really running the world and really running the things. And if our presidents are being selected instead of elected, which I believe that they are, then they would have to have an arm of the military or an arm of the Department of Justice that was infiltrated to where they wouldn't be able to indict. And you're seeing this happening right now with like the whole Durham thing. Like nobody's really reporting it, but what we're finding out from that is that they're not indicting or even investigating. The FBI is not even investigating anybody. They're not investigating Hillary Clinton's secret email servers. They're not investigating her or Obama for spying on the campaign, or for Biden, this new stuff that's come out, this $5 million that was taken from Burisma in Ukraine, and they say now that they have 17, which is a very interesting number, by the way, 17 different audio recordings of the president, Biden, the current president, when he was the vice president, having meetings over the phone and with the Ukrainian Burisma. And they're saying now that this is hard evidence. There is no getting out of this for him.
Right, but we've heard like this is hard evidence with like the 57 million mules or whatever that like movie was. Mm-hmm. Like this is hard evidence, and then nothing happens.
Yeah, you're right.
That's my frustration with the Q movement. Do I think having somebody save the world from the bad and the Satanists, and of course I think that would be awesome, but I just don't see it happening, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I think you do see it happening. I don't mean to be contrarian with my wife because I'm getting a look right now, but
murder.
You have to realize that this stuff is actually happening. There just is there's a way to do this legally and by the book. Because if you do it in any other way, if you try to take back the world and the nation from the cabal, and you don't do it legally or along the right lines, the way that you're supposed to, using, if you step out of line and you do something illegal, then you negate the whole plan, if that makes sense. Because now you're a criminal that's going after criminals. So you have to do everything by the book. And so that's what they've been doing. They've been doing everything by the book, and the media isn't reporting on it, but people are reporting on it. Citizen journalists who care about the media, who care about dissemination of information. There's been a grassroots movement online, and I would say arguably we're a part of that now, where people are disseminating information that usually isn't allowed to be disseminated. And it's out of control at this point where they can't pull back the reins on the internet. You just can't. Obama tried to. They tried to take away the freedom of the internet. You can tell that this stuff was coming, where they knew that the internet was getting out of control. So Obama tried to put laws and locks down on the internet, and it didn't pass. So they weren't able to do it. And so basically this has gotten out of control with Truth Social and Telegram and Rumble and all these other things, where people are getting canceled and then they just go to a different thing, and you can just keep going and keep going. It's out of control. So this Trump indictment is precedence. And if you're doing everything by the book, then you have precedence here and you have precedence there and you have precedence here. So now, and Trump just said this, I'm going to assign a special counsel to investigate Biden and all of these rumors and all of these things. So I think it's very close to a point where things are going to get really crazy, because now you have the president of the United States with a bribe, taking a bribe from a foreign nation, which makes our president of the United States now underneath or subject to Ukraine. And so if you're taking money from Ukraine, then you're bought and paid for by Ukraine. And now the speculation is he controlled, which means our president of the United States is controlled by Ukraine. Mm-hmm. So if that's true, then that's a problem, a big problem. And so I think if all of this evidence that's coming out right now is true, it's going to be a really wild next month or so. So that was mine. I know it's a lot, and sometimes people's eyes glaze over when we start talking about politics, but this is the stuff that we need to be talking about. It's very important because politics is what really runs our lives. I mean, everything in government is run by, what are the two things you don't talk about at the dinner table or anywhere else, right? Religion.
Diarrhea.
Oh.
We were on a different.
Okay. Religion and politics. Those are the two things you don't talk about. But those are like the two most important things in the world to talk about. So these are the things that we're seeking to talk about on this podcast. And sometimes we have differing views, even here together on this couch, but sometimes we agree. So I just want to put that out.
Well, and we don't have to always agree on every issue. That's the thing, is like, somehow it's gotten to where you can't disagree with somebody without hating them. And it's like, well, that's not how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be able to disagree, but still love each other. And it's fine. I'm not going to put anything bad in your pillow before you sleep tonight.
Okay. Well,
probably.
No,
Or in your tea.
No, I wouldn't do something like that.
No, I feel super comforted about that. I think that you're
Clearly.
He just fell off the couch.
Yeah, you're very convincing, to say the least. But all right, you guys got anything else? Let's wrap this one up.
No, I don't think so. There's a lot of UFO things going on, but frankly, I'm tired of it. I'm just over. I don't know. Over it. All the alien disclosure. Now they've just ramped it up to 12, and I'm like, okay.
It's programming.
Yes. I think so too.
We could go into that if you want to.
So maybe we'll do that next week.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there will be 12 more UFO stories by then, at least.
Oh, yeah. Aliens landed in somebody's backyard in
I know.
Nevada.
And they were caught on police body cam, which is super crazy.
Yeah. So anyway, guys, it's getting real fringy out there. And if you're paying attention, you can see it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we have on Sunday our episode coming up with John Clash. Mm-hmm. He was...
J Clash.
He's
in the place to be.
Well, okay.
I couldn't help myself.
I feel upset. So he's going to come on and talk about he wrote a book called The Law of Attraction. And he also was in the religion Santeria. And I said this at the beginning of the episode, but the only thing I've ever known about Santeria is that
the song.
Is it Red Hot Chili Peppers?
No, Sublime.
Sublime.
Yeah.
Can you sing it really quick?
I don't practice Santeria.
Anyway, so he kind of
I
explained...
ain't got no crystal ball.
You're done. Thanks.
I had $1 million, but
You're summoning a demon right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, jeez.
Oh, where's the sage? Where's
the sage?
Sorry, I'm just joking. Okay, I've gotten off the rails. This is where Kristen gets to Crazy Town.
All right, you guys look forward to video of us with John Clash, J Clash, and sorry, I've been listening to that comedian John Christ, and I had a slip up there.
You did.
My apologies.
Freudian slip.
My apologies. All right, you guys. Have a good next couple days and look forward to Sunday Fringe Day. All right, you guys. Bye.
Bye.